The disappearance of Anna Walshe, a young mother from Cohasset, Massachusetts, on New Year's Day 2023, sent shockwaves through the community and beyond. Her husband, Brian Walshe, painted a picture of a wife leaving for work, vanishing into thin air. But as investigators delved into the circumstances surrounding her disappearance, a sinister narrative began to emerge, one that pointed towards foul play and placed Brian Walshe squarely in the crosshairs of suspicion. The absence of a body immediately complicated the investigation. Without that crucial piece of evidence, proving that a crime had indeed occurred, let alone who was responsible, became an uphill battle for law enforcement. They were left to navigate a labyrinth of circumstantial evidence, conflicting accounts, and the chilling possibility that Anna Walshe had met a tragic end. The case quickly gained national attention, fueled by the mystery surrounding Anna's fate and the mounting suspicion surrounding her husband. The public watched with bated breath as investigators worked tirelessly to piece together the puzzle, their every move scrutinized under the harsh glare of the media spotlight. In cases of suspected homicide, the discovery of the victim's body is often the linchpin of the prosecution's case. It provides irrefutable proof that a life has been taken and serves as a treasure trove of forensic evidence that can tie the perpetrator to the crime. But in the case of Anna Walshe, that crucial piece of the puzzle remains missing. The absence of a body presents a formidable challenge for law enforcement. Without it, establishing a cause of death becomes exceedingly difficult. Traditional forensic methods such as analyzing blood spatter patterns or determining the type of weapon used become impossible without a crime scene to examine. Prosecutors must rely heavily on circumstantial evidence, weaving together a narrative of guilt based on the available clues. This often involves presenting a compelling timeline of events, establishing a motive, and demonstrating the defendant's opportunity to commit the crime. The lack of a body also adds another layer of complexity to the emotional toll on the victim's loved ones. Without the closure that comes with finding their loved one's remains, they are left in a perpetual state of limbo, clinging to hope while grappling with the agonizing possibility that they may never know the truth about what happened.
The early stages of the investigation were hampered by Brian Walshe's misleading statements to authorities. He initially told investigators that Anna had left for work on the morning of January 1, 2023, and that he hadn't seen her since. However, inconsistencies in his story quickly began to surface, raising red flags for the investigators.
Surveillance footage contradicted his claims, showing that he had not been truthful about his whereabouts in the days following Anna's disappearance. Further investigation revealed that Brian had made a trip to a home improvement store, purchasing items such as tarps, cleaning supplies, and a hacksaw, items that could be used to dispose of a body. These inconsistencies and suspicious purchases cast a long shadow of doubt over Brian Walshe, transforming him from a concerned husband into the prime suspect in his wife's disappearance. The time and resources spent unraveling his web of deceit ultimately hindered the early stages of the investigation, potentially allowing crucial evidence to be lost or compromised.
As the investigation into Anna Walshe's disappearance progressed, authorities uncovered a trail of disturbing evidence scattered across multiple locations. Bloodstains found in the basement of the Walshe residence, a bloody knife discovered in the same area, and the purchase of cleaning supplies pointed towards a desperate attempt to conceal a crime.
The discovery of items belonging to Anna in a dumpster near Brian Walshe's mother's apartment further fueled suspicions. Among the discarded items were a hacksaw, a rug, and a bone fragment, all stained with what appeared to be blood.
The dispersed nature of the evidence presented a significant challenge for investigators, who had to meticulously collect and analyze each item, ensuring proper chain of custody and avoiding any contamination that could jeopardize the case. The presence of blood and potential human remains in locations beyond the Walshe residence also raised concerns about the potential involvement of others or attempts to mislead investigators.
Each piece of evidence, while potentially incriminating, also added another layer of complexity to the investigation, demanding painstaking analysis and careful interpretation. In today's digital age, our online activities often leave behind a trail of evidence that can prove invaluable in criminal investigations. Such was the case in the Anna Walshe investigation, where Brian Walshe's incriminating Google searches became a focal point for law enforcement.
Investigators discovered a series of chilling searches made on Brian's phone in the days surrounding Anna's disappearance. These searches included queries such as how to dispose of a body, how to dismember a body, and best ways to dissolve human remains.
The searches, coupled with his suspicious purchases and misleading statements, painted a damning picture of premeditation and a calculated attempt to cover up a crime.
However, digital evidence, while potentially incriminating, is not without its challenges. Defense attorneys often argue that such searches, while disturbing, do not definitively prove intent or guilt. They may attempt to contextualize the searches, suggesting alternative explanations or raising doubts about who actually made the searches.
Section 6. The DNA puzzle, delays and implications. DNA evidence has revolutionized forensic science, providing investigators with a powerful tool to identify individuals and link them to crime scenes.
In the case of Anna Walshe, DNA testing was crucial in determining whether the blood found at various locations belonged to her, and whether any other DNA profiles could be extracted from the collected evidence.
However, the DNA testing process was not without its challenges. Disputes over payment for private lab testing led to delays, prolonging the wait for crucial results.
These delays had a ripple effect on the investigation, impacting the ability of the prosecution to build a strong case, and leaving Anna's loved ones in a state of agonizing uncertainty.
The results of the DNA testing, when they finally became available, could either solidify the case against Brian Walshe or introduce new complexities. The presence of unknown DNA profiles could point towards the involvement of others, while the absence of Anna's DNA in certain locations could raise questions about the prosecution's narrative.
Section 7. A shadow of doubt. Maintaining investigative integrity. The revelation that a suspended state trooper had been involved in the Walshe case cast a shadow of doubt over the investigation, raising concerns about potential misconduct and its impact on the integrity of the evidence collected.
The trooper's suspension, while unrelated to the Walshe case, raised questions about their judgment and whether their involvement had compromised the investigation in any way.
Maintaining public trust in law enforcement is paramount, particularly in high-profile cases where scrutiny is intense. Any hint of impropriety or misconduct can erode that trust, potentially jeopardizing the prosecution's case and undermining the pursuit of justice.
The involvement of the suspended trooper, while concerning, did not necessarily invalidate the evidence collected or the overall investigation. However, it did necessitate a thorough review of the trooper's actions and their potential impact on the case, adding another layer of complexity to an already challenging investigation.
Section 8. Mountains of evidence, logistical challenges for prosecution and defense. As the Walshe investigation progressed, the sheer volume of evidence collected became a logistical challenge for both the prosecution and the defense.
Hundreds of pages of investigative notes, thousands of images, and countless pieces of physical evidence had to be meticulously organized, analyzed, and shared with both sides.
For the prosecution, this mountain of evidence presented both an opportunity and a challenge. It provided a wealth of material from which to build a compelling case against Brian Walshe. However, it also required a significant investment of time and resources to sift through the evidence, identify the most compelling pieces, and craft a coherent narrative that would convince a jury of his guilt.
The defense team faced a similarly daunting task. They had to meticulously review every piece of evidence, searching for inconsistencies, alternative explanations, and any exculpatory information that could cast doubt on the prosecution's case. The sheer volume of evidence made this task both time-consuming and resource-intensive.
Section 9. Justice delayed, legal proceedings, and the court of public opinion. The legal proceedings in the Anna Walshe case have been marked by delays, continuances, and negotiations over protective orders for evidence.
These delays, while frustrating for those seeking swift justice, are not uncommon in complex criminal cases, particularly those involving a high degree of public interest.
Jury selection, a crucial stage in the trial process, was scheduled for October 2025, nearly 3 years after Anna Walshe's disappearance. The high-profile nature of the case made finding impartial jurors a significant challenge, as media coverage and public opinion could potentially influence their perceptions of the defendant's guilt or innocence.
The court of public opinion, fueled by media coverage and social media discussions, often runs parallel to the legal proceedings. While public opinion should not influence the outcome of a trial, it can create a challenging environment for all parties involved.
The prosecution must present a case that not only meets the legal burden of proof, but also addresses any doubts or skepticism that may exist in the public's mind. The defense, on the other hand, may attempt to leverage public sentiment to their advantage, highlighting any inconsistencies or weaknesses in the prosecution's case and portraying their client in a more favorable light.
The intersection of law, media, and public perception creates a complex and often unpredictable landscape in high-profile cases like the disappearance of Anna Walshe.